Hello and welcome back to another Action Game Maker tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to export your game. Specifically, we're going to do HTML5. So with that said, let's get started. Alright, so here we are in the chicken benchmark, and we want to export this to HTML5 and then put it on our itch page. So we're going to go to Project Settings and Export. Now in the presets here, you can see that I already have a Windows desktop, meaning that I've exported it to desktop, but I don't have a web one yet. And that's just simply because we haven't added it yet. So we just come down here to web, we add it. Now the nice thing about Action Game Maker is you don't have to install anything. In base Godot, this would have been a download. You would have had to download it and then do all that thing. But with Action Game Maker, it comes with it. I'm not sure about the Steam version of Godot. It might come with it too. But anyway, it's a nice perk about Action Game Maker. You just add it and it's right there ready to go. Now, I don't want to scare you with all of these options. So I'm just going to show you just the baseline that you need to export. All right. If you want encryption, you can and worry about encryption over here. But for the most part, really, you just want to make sure that this thread support is disabled. That way, it's going to reach more browsers. For some reason, some browsers don't do well with multi-threading. And so that's one of the things I usually just leave it disabled. And we can go down here. We can just leave these settings however you want. You can do a icon for the shell thing, and that's good too. And then right here, this might be one setting that you want to worry about. This is how does it resize in the browser. So if it's adaptive, it's going to try to fill the whole browser area. So in Itch's case, the window that you give Itch to show your game in, it's going to try to fill all of that. If you just leave it as none or project or whatever, it's going to just try to show the base resolution of your game. So if it's 1280 by 720, it's just going to be 1280 by 720, even if the canvas area that you can view it in is bigger, right? So generally you can get away with adaptive. Sometimes it ruins pixel art. So you might go with project where you do integer scaling, and then that way it keeps the pixel art crisp. But if you're doing vector art or something, some high res game where the scaling doesn't really affect the visuals much, you can do adaptive. I do adaptive for most of my stuff. And then you can just kind of come down here and you just have some more options that you can experiment with. You can have some icons that you can add. And there's one more this is the progressive web app. Now I've never done this, but apparently there are web browsers where you can make it a shortcut, specifically I think on mobile, and then it kind of becomes a mini app where you can click on that icon and it brings up the game. So there is this thing. It is experimental if I remember right. So do note that progressive web app is experimental. And then you can do some displays and then orientation for mobile devices. All right. And that's really it. There's really not much more other than encryption. I think I mentioned that you can encrypt it if you want. And so with that, all you got to do is export the game. Now, what I usually do, it's not really required, but just for conveniences, is in this directory, I'll just have an output folder usually. Here we have Godot, PGM, this, and I'm just going to add another one for AG Maker. And then we're going to just do this. For itch.io, it wants you to have it called index.html. You can export with the debugger if you want. Now, this is for if you want to debug it by yourself. For itch, we don't really need it. So I'm just going to get rid of that and hit save. And that should export it, and it will say everything is good to go. All right. And so that's really all that we needed to do. One thing I will mention right here, since we're here, is that you can test your web builds by going to this remote debug, and you can start an HTTP server or run in the browser. So usually if you click run in the browser here, it's going to go ahead and just set this up as if it's a browser. So you can see what the experience is going to be like. And here we go. And there we go. All right. So this was just if you do. And if you make any changes, you can just real quickly say re-export or click run in the browser again, and I think it will re-export. So you can test those pretty easily. So now we have the game set up. Let's look at how it packages real quick, because there might be some more tweaks that you want. Action Game Maker. And then we can just kind of see what we have here. So here's the icons that it was using. And then here is the index. So this is what it's going to show when it's loading. And so the one cool thing about this is you can change this image to be your own logo. So if you change this image, it will just have, when it's loading the game, it will show that logo instead of the Action Game Maker one. All right. So this is all bundled up, but in order for itch to take it, we have to right click and put it in a zip. So we're going to add to archive. And I think that this needs to be called index.html or index or whatever. I think just the HTML needs to be called index. I think that's all that's really required. But anyway, I'm going to make this zip right here. So now I'm just going to go to, I already have an HTML1 for my Basilot quest here. And then I'm going to edit this one and just upload a different file, which is going to be this, the one that we just outputted here. And there we go. So it's uploading right now. Meanwhile, we have some options down here. This is, I want this to embed in the page here. If you've never set up an HTML itch page, you can also click to launch full screen. You can set manually size. This one looks like it's Unity only, so I just do the manual size. Just do the size of the project right here. Mobile friendly, give a default orientation. I do full screen, and then I also do shared array buffer. And I'm not sure, but I heard that this is really nice. Now, this is loaded up here, so the only thing that we need to do is we need to say that this file will be played in the browser, and then we can hit save. We go back to the page here. This is going to load up, and we can hit run game. This would be your logo if you change the icon. There's also a way to change the colors and stuff, but I believe that you need to go into the index.js or it's the index.html. Somewhere you need to go and find where the code is for that bar, and you'll have to change the colors of that bar. And maybe I'll have another video on this one. This is primarily just for exporting. And then boom, it's done. It gives you a full screen mode, or you can escape to get out of it. And yeah, that's basically done. So if you're on a mobile, this would also work, and all that stuff. Now, there's some other things that I want to show you real quick. Go to the asset library, and then if you type in things like HTML, you'll see some cool things we have. Here's a custom HTML loader, which will help you change the bar of the things. Now, I don't know if this works with Action Game Maker, but most plugins do, so this is one reason I wanted to show you this. And then another one is if you type in minimize up here, you have a minimize web build. And I use this because it uses this thing called let's see, I'm not sure what the thing is, but gzip. It uses gzip compression, which I don't fully understand, but I do know that it dramatically decreases some of the HTML5 games that I've made. So I also use this plugin in my games too. What it does is when you export it, it does a little bit more when it exports. Matter of fact, you'll see some more files pop up right here. It'll compress it real quick, and then those files will disappear. And that's just kind of what it does. It's kind of cool. So anyway, and the last one I'll show you, this one's a really cool one, is if you type in analytics, we now have plugins for Godot Google Analytics. And so this is really cool. Basically, if you go to view files, it shows you how to set it up. And I'll probably make another tutorial on this. But yeah, you can just follow the steps. It took a little bit, but the steps that he gives are pretty good. So anyway, I just want to throw those few plugins out there that enhance the HTML5 export. If you have any questions, you can comment below. Go to the official forums Discord. We'll get you figured out. That said, I'll see you at the next video.